families a lot of times feel very, very guilty for placing. They're like, oh, I should have tried to keep them home longer. We can help take care of them, take care of the hard physical tasks so that then they can kind of repair that personal relationship, because a lot of times that deteriorates when you're having to physically take care of someone.
I would love to go up to the North Shore like we always did at this time of year.
People have a chance to capture the beauty and the essence of their relationship without the physical care weighing it down.
They're just so accommodating and so wonderful with the people that are in here. And they'll give you your dignity. They'll listen to you.
I thought, you know, I'm so stubborn that I could go on doing it, but I found out that at the end there, I couldn't. There was no way.
My family's very happy. They like it.
They've got something to do every day if you want something to do. You can hardly keep up with everything they've got to do.
It's a tough decision, but I'm happy with it.
They have a very strong feeling about serving those who serve. They sincerely love veterans.
Home for Heroes is a co-production of the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs and TPT's Minnesota Channel. Funding for this program has been provided by Minnesota Veterans for Veterans Trust Fund.
When people come into assisted living in particular, even if it's a crisis, I would say in 99 out of 100 cases, the family and the resident will say a month later, I cannot believe we waited as long as we did to come into this setting. I can't believe how much better Mom's health is. I can't believe how much more social she is, how much more engaged she is in this different kind of community. And it has relieved me of this role of being focused only on Mom's health issues or dementia issues or whatever they are. And I can again become a member of her family.
Bill just stared at him. I don't know that he knew he was Mr. Hoole. I don't think so. But, right, hon. He has Alzheimer's. He's had these bad symptoms for, I'd say, a year and a half, and it just kept progressively getting worse. The children wanted me to do this a long time ago. They thought I was silly to try and handle it, and I said, I will know when I can't do it any longer, and I knew when I couldn't do it any longer. I'm at peace with the decision, and all the neurologists said, actually too, that I would know when the time came to admit him someplace. You okay? Got to go home and see Frosty and Annie. Frosty's the white cat and Annie's the little chihuahua. He retired as a warrant officer 4 from the Army. Between the Guard, after service, he put in 31 years. They miss their daddy. I tell them I'm going to see Daddy, don't I, hon? I think he deserves to be taken care of, yes, and it appears that this is where he will be for his final years. I will say years. Yeah. He's in good hands. It's a pleasant ride home. It's just such a good feeling, you know. It's really good. You're happy when you're driving home that you know, came up and saw him.
I think often we underestimate the impact of caregiving on the caregiver, him or herself. And we know more and more today that caregiving can create a drain on the health of the caregiver, and certainly there is an emotional impact as well. What we often see when someone moves to an assisted living setting or a community nursing home, for the spouse particularly who's been the caregiver, there is an opportunity to fully again be the spouse and not be the primary provider of health services and physical support services. And that can give both the resident and their loved ones a new lease on life. Again, sometimes we think about a move to a setting like a community nursing home as a loss. In fact, it can be a new opportunity for a renewed quality of life. And we see that time and time again.
I'm so glad that he's happy here, because there's complaints and complaints by a lot of them, but he's happy with the food, and so that really makes me glad, because for a long time I thought, oh, I should maybe not kept him home a little longer, but he would be falling in.
I think I have told her time and again, I'm glad that they made the decision, you know, to part company with her so she wouldn't have to take care of me, because it's made it so much easier for her. And you couldn't beat it for me, being here. Oh, it's been just super, being here at the Veterans Home. I wish that all the other guys that do come here will end up with the same feeling that I have. And if they do, why, they'll part company with a smile on their faces.
How shall I take that?
My daughter and my granddaughter both knew about the home here, and someone suggested they come and look at it, and they did, and they were very happy. And I was in a nursing home, a private-owned one in the cities, and this is a far cry from that. I must say this is wonderful.
After I had a couple of little strokes and stuff like that, that caused me caused my wife, I should say, to have to make a decision, which is a very tough one. She's still my wife today, and lives right outside of town here. But God bless her, she made a decision that was very tough for her.
You know, when I think about the difference between a veteran's home and a community nursing home, one of the first things that comes to mind is the common bond that's created by the fact that the residents have all served their country through military service. And I think of that as a wonderful tie that binds both the residents to one another, but certainly the greater community to them as well. And I think that gives us, as the people of Minnesota, people of this nation, a sense that these are our settings, that a veterans community home is our home.
She can be in here because I was in the military, which is very nice, I think.
Well, it's a gut-wrenching decision, I suspect, in most cases. In many, many of the cases, it's because there's been a crisis. It's because there's been a medical incident, or your Alzheimer's or dementia has progressed to the point where the caretaker just can't manage anymore.
Well, it was hard for me to make it, but my children were after me because I had no life of my own. I was taking care of her at home for the last 10 years before that, before I brought her up here. So they just thought I had to have a little life too. So usually she'll smile as soon as she sees me. Yeah. And a lot of times she'll start singing in German, of course, and then then she wants to kiss and says, "I love you." So she still recognizes me, which is good. If I miss a day, some of the staff might say, "Where's Harry?" Or they'll tell Ingrid the day that I'm coming that I'll be here pretty soon. So she waits for that, don't you?
Across the nation, after the Civil War, there was a need for a place for our returning veterans, our soldiers that were coming back from the war. Oftentimes did not really have a place to go and were having difficulty transitioning into society again. The legislature throughout the nation identified a need for a place that veterans can call home. It's a tranquil place, a place where it would be considered a place of honor, a home where veterans can live and still be part of the community. And today we look at our veterans' homes as the same. The veterans, the mission hasn't really changed. It's a place of honor. We treat our veterans and their family members with respect and dignity. And I want them to feel like this is their home and that they enjoy the camaraderie and the time spent with other veterans, telling stories and sharing things. And we owe a debt of gratitude to our veterans community who spends a lot of time coming to visit the veterans and doing a number of programs, activity programs with the veterans. So, it should be a happy place and a place where people want to come. And it's, as I mentioned before, it's a place of honor. The idea and the concept behind having veterans homes in the state is to provide care to as many veterans as possible. We provide care to aged and disabled veterans and their families. And so we want to be able to spread out throughout the state and be able to provide care as close to where they live or where they're from as possible, to limit the travel for family members to have to come from Northeast Minnesota all the way into the Twin Cities to visit their loved one here in Minneapolis. So the intent is to get out and spread the wealth across the state. I have 5 homes located in the state. Minneapolis Veterans Home is the original veterans home here in the state of Minnesota. It sits on a very beautiful campus with several buildings here. We provide a number of services ranging from long-term care in the nursing home environments such as dementia care, Alzheimer's care, custodial care for those residents that may need a place to stay that exceeded the ability to stay at home. The Laverne Veterans Home is an 85-bed nursing home. They provide skilled nursing care. We do have a special care unit where we have veterans that may need some additional assistance with maybe memory care, dementia, Alzheimer's type care. Fergus Falls is the newest of our veterans home. Has been around for a little over 10 years. The veterans home there is, again, an 85-bed, just like the Laverne Veterans Home. And it provides skilled nursing care, rehab care, and we just recently added a special care unit for residents that may need assistance with issues of wandering or dementia or Alzheimer's type care. Silver Bay Veterans Home is an 83-bed veterans home. We provide skilled nursing care at that home, and we have an area of the home that is also a special care unit for that home. And we provide that for those that need dementia or Alzheimer's care.
It is a nursing home, but it's not the same as a community nursing home. You know, it specializes in caring for veterans, so it's a different makeup. Most nursing homes are mostly women, so we have mostly men here, and they have a common life experience that they can relate to each other. It was a significant event in their lives. It's nice for them to be able to talk with people they can relate to about this important part of their lives.
I was in the Navy, and I used to stand on the deck when the airplanes came in, and I signaled the airplanes coming in and going up. Whatever we do, whether it's a scary thing or whatever, when we're doing it, and we trust that it's okay, we'll make it through. We don't have fear. We just do it without any hurt.
You know, the future of the Veterans Home system is always evolving. If you think back to when the old soldiers' homes were first started and the concept and the idea of the old soldiers' homes and where we are today with our veterans' homes, we're always thinking, always want to provide the best possible care and stay at the forefront of change. We talk a lot about culture change. We talk about transitioning to person-centered care and those types of things. I see the future of the veterans homes here in the Minnesota as a bright future. We're constantly talking about how we want to make the change for that future veteran that's coming in.
We are carrying the Vets Home commitment to person-centered care kind of to the ultimate level. What a household is it's actually a group of about 16 to 24 residents who live together in an environment that looks like a house, feels like a house, smells like a house, acts like a house. So we're sitting in the dining room, and behind us you can see the kitchen, which looks very much like the kitchen that you would have in your own home.
Ken, would you like a fruit salad? It's pretty good.
I bet it is.
Our intent is to make dining here be identical to dining at home. And it's all about creating a physical environment that's totally comfortable and that makes the resident, the vet, feel totally at home and cues the staff to relate to the resident in a relationship way, in a person-centered way, just like caring for your grandpa if he lived with you in your own home. So the environment is a big piece of it. I always say that I think the term resident-directed or resident-centered is a nice term, but what it really is it's relationship-based care. Because when we live and work together as a family in a household, we truly are like grandchildren caring for our grandparents.
What's important to us as we grow older is going to be different in some respects for each of us. So having choices before us, having options, both in the setting where we live and what that setting offers to us, is really a key part, in my view, of aging well. But my definition might be different than yours. And that's what I think we all strive to do, is preserve as much choice and as much decision making as possible.
I think it's going pretty good for him. I think he's at home. He did a lot of sleeping. He was kind of bored at home. Didn't have that much to do and liked to be just by himself a lot.
Couldn't take care of myself. I was afraid I'd fall in the bathtub. Couldn't walk.
Oh, 70.
I got COPD.
Under the G, 59.
I have asthma.
G, 59.
I smoked too many years.
Here he gets out and plays games and he's with the residents much more, and I think he enjoys himself.
The birthday boy's wife has a bingo? Who's got the bingo? Myra? Hold your card up.
I know quite a few people. Some of them are from Pipestone. They're from Adrian. They're from Jasper. First couple of weeks I had a adjust, but it's pretty good now. Yeah. We get a lot of stuff to do. I go down to therapy, and I go to Creative Chef. Next summer you can go outside and they got croquet and stuff like that you can play.
Since when do we follow the recipe, Ray? All right, they're going in the oven. Ray, how long do they have to bake for?
And they take you on bus tours of the country, and they go fishing.
I think so. His walking is poor, so he uses a wheelchair.
Here's my roommate.
And he's on the inhalers. He uses that, I think it's 3 or 4 times a day. In general, he does most of it himself. I come 3 times a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then Sunday noon, I have dinner with him.
Is he pretty excited to see you?
Yes, I think so. I think he's waiting in his room waiting for me to come. Sometimes he's by the door waiting.
The Hastings Veterans Home is a little different from the rest of our homes. The Hastings home is not a skilled nursing facility. It's called a domiciliary, or most people would know it as a boarding care. And so at that home, we have the average age is a little younger than our other homes, about 56, 57 years of age. We provide a lot of independent type activities. We encourage the residents there to make a lot of their own independent decisions. They are actively part of a lot of the care that we provide there. They have things that are unique, such as our wood shop. We have a woodworking shop there that they're actually known nationally for the flag cases that we make.
I think if there's anything that people, when they drive by here and they drive past this home and they look here out their window and they see, know it's a home for veterans, know that these are men and women that have served your country. And I encourage them to know that, you know, veterans are a foundation of our country, and they house a lot of the rights that we have today as human beings. And to drive past a veteran's home, know it's truly for a veteran.
So of course families should be talking about it. You talk about when you're going to have your first child. You talk about whether or not your child, what school your child's going to go to. You talk about whether or not your child's going to go to college. Are you going to buy a house? All those kinds of conversations about transitions in people's lives occur naturally. We don't talk about what happens when you age or when there's a health crisis. Heaven forbid we acknowledge that we are mere mortals. It just doesn't happen.
Planning is always a good thing for all of us, generally. And basically we have 2 waiting lists. We have an inactive waiting list, which is a dormant file, and we just review it annually and to update it. And then the other list is our active waiting list. And the active waiting list is a list of applicants who want to get in as soon as they can. And so people, I'll explain that they have the option on the application sheet itself. It says they have 2 options, wish immediate placement, or they may check the box, do not wish placement at this time. So people who don't want immediate placement, and clarify that, we put them on our inactive list. And what they need to get on that list is a completed application page and a copy of the military discharge paper. Those are the 2 things that are required.
It took about 8 months. But I don't think he was ready for it at the time that we applied, but by the time that he came in here, he was ready to go.
It was very important because I was told by others, of course, that you better get your name on the list. You better go up there and make the contact. And the right people told me, and I did it. I got it done. I don't always get everything done right when I should, sometimes procrastinate. But I did that, and I'm very, very happy that I did.
And the benefit of doing that is that they have, no doubt, spoken with their family members and given them a clue that this is what I want to do. We've started the process. These are my wishes. If something happens to my health, this is where we choose to go. They've hunted down the military discharge paper. They don't have to dig through all the files and wonder where that is or if it is. Oftentimes they need to, if they can't locate it, they have to go through that search with their Veteran Service Office. And so it just kind of saves some time, and it saves the stress of crisis kind of intervention. If something happens and the veteran falls, breaks a hip, or ends up with a stroke, or a sudden declining illness and needs to enter, they're not scrambling in a moment of crisis. and emotional stress to try to get these things lined up.
I know that we're in bad shape, we're here. There's no two ways about that. And some of us have very debilitating diseases and problems. However, the one thing I think you should all remember is the fact that you're a veteran and you have served your country with dignity and with honor and with pride, and you should remember that now. And take that with you when you go to bed tonight and think about it, because you have every right to feel those things. And I believe we all do. So being here is a step above, and it's really an honor being here.
Home for Heroes is a co-production of the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs and TPT's Minnesota Channel. Funding for this program has been provided by Minnesota Veterans for Veterans Trust Fund.